Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Now this afternoon, I want to talk about the socio-political analysis of why men are going their own way. Now it is very evident that this movement continues to grow. But before I get further into the topic, let me give you my definition of what I believe MGTOW, or men going their own way, is. Now, when I break down the topic, I find that when it comes to MGTOW, the definition that I've come up with is straightforward. It is a statement of self-ownership where the modern man preserves and protects his own sovereignty above all else. It is the manifestation of one word, and that word is no. Ejecting silly preconceptions and cultural definitions of what a man is. Looking to no one else for social cues. Refusing to bow, serve, and kneel for the opportunity to be treated like a disposable utility. And living according to his own best interest in a world which would rather he didn't. In other words, common sense or sovereignty. Now, like many movements, there must be an ideology. Now, I don't know of any ideology behind MGTOW, but what I do know about MGTOW is that there are a number of men, even if they don't wear the title of MGTOW, they believe in the MGTOW philosophy. They believe in the red pill philosophy. Red pill and MGTOW go hand in hand. Now, the name is synonymous with Barbarossa, Aaron Clary, Sandman, Iman 67, the MGTOW monk, and there are also Ibmore brothers, which Ibmore is the black version of MGTOW because you have Black Ram 313, you have Black Gnostic Speaks. When it comes to MGTOW, the philosophy is real. And the philosophy is going to become even greater. And the feminists don't like it. Now, when you analyze this movement, you have to understand why men have decided, for the most part, to go their own way. Now, you have some men who are just angry and they have become misogynistic and they don't like women. I don't believe those men are true MGTOWs because they don't understand the philosophy. They're just utilizing emotion to get back at women. Some of them may be incels. But when it comes to the real philosophy of a MGTOW, men going their own way, and I will tell to you straight from the cuff here, what I have heard and what I've seen from MGTOWs, what's going on, and you have a number of them who are teaching, and they're very brilliant. They do lay the facts down. Because I myself, I don't hate women, but you must be very cautious of them. Because we live in a gynocentric society where if you're a man and you make the wrong move, you will be sitting behind bars. You have a number of misandrists out here who want to take men down. If you don't believe me, look what happened to Bill Cosby. And there will be more dominoes to fall in the future unless men get with this MGTOW movement. Now, Ringo TV, shout out to him, he did a video on the road leads to MGTOW. And he's exactly right. Because you don't have to have a label, but I guarantee there are a number of men out there who have adopted some of those philosophies. They're just afraid to say them. Why? Because the problem I have with men men become contradictory themselves. Or they'll tell you how much they don't want women, but they really do want women. And at the end of the day, you get nowhere. You're lying to yourself. But when it comes to any type of movement, there has to be a reason why the movement has been established and will continue to grow. Now, I understand the constituent beliefs of the MGTOW movement, and here's why. Number one, women's intrinsic nature is very hypergamous. It is hypergamous. Now, what I mean by hypergamous, their nature, women are for themselves. Which is to say that when it comes to women, they seek the most powerful partner they can acquire through marriage. Now, in contemporary Western societies, this is usually the wealthiest man possible. Although in their younger years, women may temporarily mate with the most physically powerful man available to them, with attractiveness here relating to body alone. Why? Because when they're young, they like the thrill. When they get older, they want the security. Number two, further aspects to women's intrinsic nature include hedonism and capability for long-term planning, materialism, and sexual aggressiveness. Now, in what order these traits fit together, which is causative, is not set in any schematized way, nor I wouldn't expect it to be. After all, the MGTOW movement does not yet, and indeed may never have a formal theory or ideology because it's not a political movement. The beliefs listed in this point, though MGTOWs have developed them from a independent observation, resemble certain traditional and Christian depictions of female sexuality and long-standing beliefs about the childish nature of women. Number three, changes in Western societies brought about a combination of technological advance and political action have left many men severely at a disadvantage. And some issues have come with the contraceptive pill, no-fault divorces, child custody arrangements. Those tend to favor women with custody, unjust alimony claims, curtailments, and disparagement of traditional masculine activities. Women have easier access to abortion. A number of women believe in the welfare state. And all those are perceived victories for feminists in the U.S. culture wars. And the feminists, with their ideology, it's basically, or their ideologies have basically left men submissive to women or exposed to a woman's nature. This is where you get gynocentrism from. Now, as the MGTOW movement sees it, these changes have made it rational and relatively easy for women to trade up her partner. Now, in doing so, she allows her former husband and the state to support her. She also leaves her former partner bereft of children and home. Number four, contrary to claims made by feminists and other social observers, it is not women who are severely disadvantaged in contemporary Western societies, but it's men. Now, the MGTOW movement points toward higher suicide rates for men and higher unemployment rates for men as well. Now, it also notes that male overrepresentation in dirty, difficult, and often fatal work, such as military and road repair. Again, men build the infrastructure, and women are allowed to utilize it for their own comforts. Now, women, and here's what the MGTOW movement suggests of them. And this is true. Women tend to live longer. They have healthier lives at the material and emotional expense of men. Now, not all women live healthier lives, but a number of them, when I see that they're talking about the expense of men, I'm talking about the social programs that they get, because more men put into the system, but women get more out of the system. In other words, let me tell you something about the child support laws, because I went through them myself. if men are irresponsible with sex, they get put in the system. Women, they benefit from the system. So the welfare state allows women to be irresponsible because they know that Big Daddy government is going to take care of them. Now, also, women benefit from a double standard whereby men are simultaneously trying to accommodate demands for equality while conforming to a possible innate desire or need to protect women. Now, women can have their cake and eat it too. Why? Because they're not only treated as equals, but also receive old-fashioned chivalric deference in certain aspects, such as they're getting wined and dined, they're getting the doors open for them, men are giving them money, men are paying their bills, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Now, the phrase man up embodies this double standard for the MGTOW movement, for it at once demands men to conform to their traditional role as a provider while enduring an unjust situation where they risk losing everything they work for to provide for a woman. Now, number 6, you have to understand that this is a type of behavior observed in some men known as simping or white knighting. This amounts to what a Marxist would call false consciousness. This is to say that the white knight or simp believes that his actions help himself when objectively he is helping his oppressor. Now, the white knight or simp, as the name suggests, is a man who conforms to what remains in Western societies as a chivalric tradition or civil duty, whichever you prefer. Both mean the same to me. Now, how does this work? Now, he attempts to win women over with material bribes, shows public diffidence to their social views, and he also allows himself to be nagged and so forth. Now, MGTOWs view this behavior as self-defeating and hold that in the long run, the white knight or simp will merely be financially and emotionally used up before being discarded for a more powerful man. In other words, these men who are simping and they're being white knights, they're not being utilized for their manhood. They're being utilized as a tool, and once they use it up, they dispose you. And this is what the movement is talking about. Men want to be treated as humans, not somebody they can pick up, use, and discard. Now, a man who has basically developed white knighting to such a degree or simping to such a degree as to debase himself is completely known by MGTOWs, and I've said it myself, as a eunuch or mangina. Now, what a mangina is, it's a vulgar and disparaging term that denotes his complete self-surrender or submission to women. Now, such a man is likely to identify as a feminist. Now, a male feminist and a female feminist is an oxymoron. A man, I don't see how he could be a feminist. Now, he could be a traitor to men by seeing everything from a woman's point of view, but I can't see a man being a feminist. Now, that's a position that not only MGTOWs, but that I take, that a man is using it as a strategy to beg for sex. Because if he doesn't showboat or appear worthy to a woman, he's not going to be able to get sex. Now, you have to understand, in America, sex is a commodity. It's going to the highest bidder. It's not about love a lot of the times. In fact, the sex that you get in a relationship from some of these women is merely shut-up sex. And I say that because a number of women are only interested in what you can give them. And I'm talking about this modern-day woman. So, guys, you got to be cautious when you're going out here dating. And if you don't believe me, look at some of your female family members. Now, this is not a slap at women, but you have a number of women who are full of drama, and they will bring it to you, and they will castigate you if you don't follow their lead. Now, it doesn't matter what community, black or white or Hispanic community, this Western civilization has allowed women to have all the power at the expense of men. You can't refute that fact because a number of us men have gone through the system if we've been married or had children. Now, number 7, in keeping with the false consciousness identified in the act of white knighting or simping, some men who believe the MGTOW's movement's ideas to be true will refer to themselves as having taken the red pill. Again, if they believe in these philosophies, they're being cautious, they understand what's going on in the world when it comes to dating, they become red pillars. And these are the guys who aren't simping or white knighting or eunuchs. They're not manginas. These are the individuals who believe in themselves. They have a worth. Now, when it comes to simping, manginas, white knights, or eunuchs, these are the guys who are really hurting men because their actions are used to try to appease women for sex. Well, they're taking the blue pill. And what they're doing is they're basically defeating themselves by not having any standards. And this is definitely true when it comes to the black community. This is why a number of black men don't have any standards, because too many black men are over sexualized. And I think black men should hear a lot more messages about Ibmore and MGTOW. Black men need some penis discipline because too many of us have made too many baby mamas. Now, I can't blame that all on women, but black men have to exercise better judgment. And we got to do a lot better. Men in general have to do a lot better, but black men especially, when it comes to women, we have to be a little bit more disciplined when it comes to meeting women. And this is why some of these philosophies of MGTOW and Ibmore, black men really need them. Now, number 8, given to what I said, I'm talking about men in the contemporary Western societies basically cannot win in any relationships with women. Therefore, men must go their own way until such time as these societies collapse or reform. This is to protect men's social, financial, and emotional well-being, but the intent is not to always be self-preserving or selfish. Now, MGTOW YouTubers devote considerable time to discussing how to use their lives free from relationships with women, whether that be leaving financial legacies to their communities or some other valuable artifact for the world. But for some, this could amount to planning an ascetic, non-religious, monolithic life with a particular skill, craft, or project at its center. And that's known as a MGTOW monk. That's what a MGTOW monk. Correction. Now, basically, further to these discussions and general propaganda for the MGTOW movement, the movement provides encouragement for men tempted back to women by the desire for sex, love, or affection. Now, I am not the deepest in thought when it comes to MGTOW. What I gave you was the notes that I took. So I basically want to give you my own summation and analysis on why a number of men are going MGTOW. So I hope to have characterized the movement fairly, though my understanding, as I said, it's not deep. And I should add that different MGTOWs have different perspectives on the fundamental natures of the world. And that includes sex, finances, dating, you name it. But the object of MGTOW that every man needs to know is that you should put your own goals above everybody else. And if you look at everything from a biblical standpoint, you are above everybody else because except for God. But at the end of the day, MGTOW is going to continue to grow because we have a lot more information about what's going on in the world with this system. And for women, some of you better change your attitudes because you're going to be single the rest of your life, and the best thing that you can do is go down to Petco and get you some dogs and cats, because good men who are about purpose, they're not going to deal with the nonsense. So, my take on MGTOW, it's a philosophy of men going their own way because they have a purpose in life to continue to grow. If you like what you heard, just like, share, and subscribe. But tell me what you think in the comment section. That's it for this video. My name is Leon Jones. I'm out.